Hey guys, what's up? Pastor Daniel here. Today we talk about evangelism regarding the local church, and we're going to do it in my local coffee shop. Let's go. So today I wanted to come to you guys and talk about evangelism, specifically in the local church and how we approach evangelism. I actually changed up the location. You guys can see I'm in my local coffee shop, and the reason why is because I think our perceptions of evangelism have been expanded. It's no longer just standing on a street corner and blurting out scriptures from a microphone, although that's a valid form of evangelism, and apologetics is definitely certainly a part of our walks in Christianity. I wanted to give you guys a backdrop that kind of reflected kind of the material that we're going to be going over today. So if we look at the scriptures and we look at Jesus's life, what we see is a man that was personal, and he was intentional with every single interaction that he had with people in the Bible. So I wanted to talk about, first off, how Jesus's personal evangelism differed from the typical modern efforts in evangelism in today's day and age. You know, the big thing that Jesus did that we see in the scriptures, that he built strong relationships with people, yet he boldly spoke the truth. And the example that I'm going to be pulling from today, and the way that we know this, is from John chapter 4. Many of you guys might know this story, but it's the story of the woman at the well. He arrives in Samaria, and Jesus and his disciples, they stop at a well. He tells them, hey, yo guys, I'm hungry, go into the town and I'm going to just chill here at the well. Well, as the disciples leave, a Samaritan woman comes up that he ends up having an amazing conversation with, and she has been beaten down and battered by the world, and he ends up speaking life into her to the point to where she becomes one of the first evangelicals of Jesus's ministry. She goes throughout her city and she tells everybody that she encounters that this man Jesus has shown me or told me everything I had ever done, and she makes this one woman makes an impact on the entire region. So I wanted to look into that kind of interaction, and I wanted to talk about some of the crucial elements of Jesus's outreach and how we should emulate it in today's day and age. First off, Jesus was passionate. You know, he cared for the lost. You have to understand that this man lived a life of service, especially towards the end of his life, where we get the story of the disciples and him performing the miracles and then the passion of the cross. This man was a servant, and yet he never lost his passion for people. Matter of fact, what ends up happening is, as he sits and waits for the disciples to come back, when this woman comes up, he has a supernatural perspective into her life, and his compassion and his passion for her bubbles up and bubbles over, and this is where we get the interaction between him and the woman at the well. Number two, Jesus crossed the boundaries of social taboo. You know, back in the day, the Jews and the Samaritans, they didn't talk to one another. Samaritans as a people were considered half-breeds because they were mixed with other nations, so they didn't have a pure blood kind of a sense to them, because they belonged to other nations that worshiped other gods. So they were looked at differently to regular Jewish people. But Jesus was like, you know what, I'm gonna cross these false religious restrictions, because that's really what they are. And I'm gonna cross the gender divide. I'm gonna go across the lines that are established by people, and I'm gonna love where love should not exist. I'm gonna care for in places where care does not exist. And he shows us a great example of what it is to be a person that pursues people beyond the lines of where society draws. Number three, Jesus connects with people on a personal basis. He doesn't just sit there and just calls her out. When he begins to talk with the woman at the well in John chapter 4, he first asks her for a drink. In other words, he makes a personal connection between them that incites a conversation that leads us to the greater point of that scripture and text. So many times what we'll end up doing is we will forego personal connection, we will forego personal relationship, we will forego the things that actually give us equity in people's lives, and what ends up happening is we never cross those lines. So people's willing to hear the effectiveness of the gospel is actually hindered. And here Jesus shows us what we need to do is we need to be leaders and servants who see people for who they are. We need to be people who cross the boundaries that culture sets, and we also have to do it very personable. We have to be very mindful of where people are at, and it's okay to have a personal relationship with somebody before you introduce them to having a personal relationship with Jesus. At the end of the day, Jesus is our example in everything, but specifically for today's talk in modern day evangelism, I hope you go to your local coffee shop like I have today, and that you get some coffee like I have today, but more importantly, that you love like Jesus shows us today. God bless you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I will see you guys soon. Peace out.